You know what blows my mind? Scientists estimate that the average person has about 6,000 thoughts per day, but language learners often get stuck trying to translate every single one of them.
That's such a fascinating way to think about the cognitive load we're putting on language learners. How do we even begin to tackle that challenge?
Well, let me paint a picture of what's happening in most learners' minds. It's like running a complex translation algorithm for every thought, and by the time that process finishes, the conversation has moved three topics ahead.
Hmm, that reminds me of a recent study showing that this mental translation process can slow down response times by up to 30% in conversations.
And here's what makes it even more challenging. Our brains are actually working double time when we translate. It's like trying to simultaneously write with both hands, but in different languages.
That's exactly why so many language learners report mental exhaustion after just short conversations in English.
You know what's fascinating? Research shows that native speakers process language in the left temporal lobe, but second language learners initially use both hemispheres of the brain until they learn to think directly in the target language.
Well, that explains why immersion programs tend to show better results than traditional translation based learning methods.
Speaking of immersion, let me share a technique I call immersive narration. It's where you consciously describe everything around you in English. But here's the key: you need to bypass that translation step completely.
So, like creating your own personal documentary throughout the day? How does someone actually implement that?
Picture this. Instead of thinking, I need coffee in your native language and translating it, you'd start with simple English phrases like, the coffee smells amazing, or this mug is too hot. Research shows this direct association method can reduce processing time by up to 40%.
That makes me think about the role of emotional connection in language learning. How do we address that aspect?
Well, studies from the University of Madrid show that emotional engagement accelerates language acquisition by up to 60%. When you start expressing feelings directly in English, not translating them, you're creating neural pathways that stick.
Oh, like when you naturally think, I'm exhausted, instead of translating your tired feeling from your native language?
Exactly. And here's something surprising. Brain scans show that when learners express emotions directly in their second language, they activate same regions as native speakers, rather than the translation centers.
That's fascinating about the brain activation patterns. What other scientific insights do we have about this process?
Recent neurolinguistic studies reveal that successful language learners show increased gray matter density in the left inferior parietal cortex, the region responsible for direct language processing. It's literally like building new mental muscles.
Well, that certainly puts a new perspective on the whole practice makes perfect concept.
And speaking of practice, let me share what I call the 555 method. Spend 5 minutes 3 times daily thinking exclusively in English. Studies show that this spaced repetition approach is 90% more effective than longer, irregular practice sessions.
That sounds much more manageable than trying to think in English all day from the start.
You know what's interesting? Research from the University of Cambridge found that learners who used this incremental approach reached fluency 40% faster than those who tried to make the switch all at once.
Those are some compelling statistics. How do you suggest people track their progress?
The most effective method I've found is keeping what researchers call a metacognitive journal, documenting moments when English thoughts occur naturally. Studies show that this self awareness accelerates the transition to thinking in English by up to 35%.
That kind of mindful observation must really help learners see their progress over time.
And here's something unexpected. Research shows that the first sign of progress often appears in dreams. About 68% of successful language learners report dreaming in English before they feel confident speaking it.
Now, that's a fascinating metric for progress. What other unexpected indicators should people watch for?
Well, cognitive scientists have identified what they call language interference, when English words pop into your head while speaking your native language. It happens to about 85% of advanced learners and actually indicates strong neural pathways forming for English.
That must be really encouraging for learners to experience those moments of natural English thought.
The goal isn't to never think in your native language again. Studies show that even advanced bilinguals use both languages in their thought processes, It's about developing the ability to think directly in English when needed, reducing that translation time by up to 75%.
Those are some impressive efficiency gains. Any final thoughts on the future of language learning?
Research suggests that as AI language tools become more sophisticated, the focus will shift even more toward natural thinking and communication rather than translation. The future of language learning isn't about perfect grammar. It's about authentic expression and direct thought.